Right, okay, welcome back 40k fans. It's another battle report by Battleforged Brothers, and you'll recognise the planet. It is the same planet that the Thousand Suns triumphed against the Imperial Fists. And as you can see, the ruins of the previous battle are here. Flames still kicking out from the ruined fuel line. However, we do have two opposing forces which will be battling over this landscape. And that will be the Ultramarines, who were picked up on the Imperial Fists signal that they sent out the last game, and the opposing force who has been hunting them down, who's going to be trying to dish out some hurt, are none other than the Death Guard. So we do have Michael in the house today with his fantastic painted Death Guard force. It is 1,000 points. It's quite a small game, but we will have a look at the armies, but we will sort out mission and deployment. So I'll show you the mission and deployment, and then we'll do the army lists. So we'll be back in a moment. Right, so deployment has been sorted. So we are doing Dawn of War, and we have rolled, and mission we are going to do Purge the Alien. So the green dice representing back here is the Death Guard's deployment, and they have quite a lot of cover, nice rocks, rock formations, the remains of the Aegis defence line moving all the way across this way here, and opposite, in the quite fitting, in the ruins of the previous Imperial force, is the blue dice here representing the Ultramarines deployment as well. So they'll not be happy that their brother Astartes vehicles are in ruins. However, the Death Guard have elected, they did win the roll-off, and they have elected to deploy second and go second unless they can seize the initiative. So we'll come back after the armies have been deployed, and we'll start with the army list for the Ultramarines. Back in a moment. Right, okay, so this is the Ultramarines force that will be taking on the Death Guard today. Very minimalistic deployment, but there's a lot of stuff in transport. So moving from left to right, we have the Warlord, which is Tagiris. His psychic powers he's got is straight from the new Codex. And that is Might of Heroes, Psychic Scourge, and Psychic Fortress, naturally Smite as well. He is in there alone, the normal Land Raider, with the two Twin Las and Heavy Bolter on the top. Moving across, we have a Venerable Dreadnought with the Twin Las and the Power Fist and Stormbolter. He's just hunkering near the ruins of the Imperial Fist's Land Raider. Over this side, we have a 10-man tactical inside of a Rhino, which the tactical squads are combat squadded as well. The Sergeant has a Power Sword and a Plasma Pistol. The special weapon in this one is a Melter and Missile Launcher. Over this side is another Rhino, just anchoring the right-hand side, probably looking to make a beeline straight up here. Same again, combat squadded. Sergeant, exact same configuration as the other one, so Power Sword and Plasma Pistol. And then we also have a Grav Gun and a Heavy Bolter in this squad as well. Just waiting to deep strike down, waiting in the teleport chambers will be a 5-man squad of Terminators, which are the Assault variant. So that is 3 Thunderhammers and 2 Lightning Claws, which will be looking to wreak vengeance upon the Heretics. So that's the deployment for the Space Marines. We'll go and have a look and see what the Death Guard, Pat Nurgle, has brought today. So we'll be back in a moment. Right, okay, so debut is Pat Nurgle is in the house himself. Michael has brought his Death Guard army to take on the Ultramarines. So down here we have 2 10-man squads of Poxwalkers. We have the Warlord himself, Typhus. He will be leading the force today. Powers that he has is the Miasma of Pestilence and the Gift of Contagion. Moving across here, we have a 6-man squad of Plague Marines. We have the captain at the front who has a plasma gun, a plague fist, and a plague knife. And we also have another plague plasma gun as well. The rest of the guys are just armed with the standard equipment, the plague knives and bolters. Over this side, we have the plague caster. He's going to be wanting to dish out some powers as well. He has exactly the same powers as Typhus as well. So that'll be Miasma of Pestilence and Gift of Contagion, naturally Smite for the pair of them as well. And just anchoring on the left-hand side is the 2 Bloat drones. Looking very, very pestilency, very pus leaking out of them, looks mint. and we have the Blightbringer backing them up as well. So as we look across the board, very nice clean Ultramarines force over there. The parallels for these two forces, it looks really cool on the board, and I think it's very fitting. So nice clean uniformed force for the Ultramarines, and all the pestilence and demons and pus-filled Marines waiting to take them on. So at the moment, it currently is the Ultramarines going first. Michael is going to attempt to seize the initiative. So on a roll of a 6, the Death Guard will be going first.
No.
On a 2, it is not. So we will come back after movement phase for the Ultramarines. Right, just back after the Ultramarines movement phase, the Land Raiders come storming ahead. Tigris is still inside of that, more than likely looking to take some psychic shots and some firepower down at here. Dreadnought's just ploughing straight through between the two ruined Thunderfire cannons. He's got a bead over at the Poxwalkers on this side, and the two tanks, the two Rhinos, just come storming straight ahead. All their occupants are still waiting inside for glory when they disembark. So we'll come back after psychic and shooting, because Graham does have a psyker, obviously Tigris. So we'll come back after psychic phase and shooting all together. Right, so just back after psychic and shooting phase, Graham elected not to do any psychic powers because the majority of them are primarily blessings, and he is out of range to do so. So combined firepower from the Land Raider and the Dreadnought. Land Raider firing at this Poxwalker squad took out 3, and the Dreadnought over here firing took out 1 from this number as well. Obviously Poxwalkers, they automatically just don't have morale, so they're absolutely fine over that side. Or just moving over this side, no firepower coming in from the Rhinos. So this flank for the Death Guard is totally untouched. So after that, there's no assaults at all. This First Blood's still up for grabs, but we'll turn it over to the Death Guard for their movement phase, turn 1. Right, okay, so just back after the Death Guard's movement phase, and the Poxwalkers are on the move. So this squad has advanced, so they've moved 9 inches up. Typhus just walking slowly behind, just to back them up. This squad advanced, but they only got a 2, so they just moved up 6, just to flank around the side of this rock. Plague Marines just moving straight past through the Aegis. Looks as though they're in support. Potentially going either straight round here, or just in support of the Poxwalkers over there, or potentially just another target for the Land Raider to choose from. The Plague Caster, he's just lingering around the corner here. Potentially, maybe this might get some psychic shenanigans off somewhere. And over here, the Blightbringer, he's just lingering back here between these two rocks. Excuse me, and with his ability to buff the movement for these, one drone has moved up 16 and the other one has moved up 15, so they're both advanced. So that is the movement for Death Guard all done and dusted. So we're going to quickly run into the psychic phase as well as shooting. So no doubt there'll be some smites or whatever hide around the battlefield. So we will be back after psychic and shooting phase. Right, so just back after the Death Guard psychic and shooting phase. Psychic phase, Typhus tried to cast Gift of Contagion on the Land Raider and failed. But he did manage to get Miasma of Pestilence on these, so be minus to hit against this Pox squad over there. The other guy tried to cast powers as well, and he failed to get them off. In the shooting phase, not a great deal, to be honest. The Plague Marines shot into the Land Raider. The Plasma Gun guy overcharged, fired in, and the save was passed. However, the captain is no more. He did overcharge and killed himself. So in this turn, that's all the shooting. Everyone else is pretty much advanced. In the shooting phase, the Plague Marines have actually dealt more damage to themselves this particular round. However, Nurgle always likes to reward people, so maybe it was all part of his plan, I suppose. A bit of Tzeentch influence, maybe. And just going into the assault phase, Michael is going to try to get Typhus into combat with the Land Raider.
Yeah.
Right, okay, so we reckon it's a 9-inch charge. We've already pre-measured it. So whether he gets in or not is a different question. So we'll just fill him and see if he gets in.
No.
No, he does not. But the Land Raider will still be able to have Overwatch against him. So we'll do Overwatch, and then we will move on to the Ultramarines for their turn 2 movement phase. Back in a moment. Right, okay, so just back after the Ultramarines' response to the Death Guard's movement, so just on the movement phase. Just very quickly, no damage taken to Typhus from Overwatch in their last turn. As for movement, the Land Raider is staying exactly where it is. Tigris has popped out. The Dreadnoughts come bounding, smashing straight through here. And just on this side, the Rhino has, the Space Marines have disembarked from there. 2 combat squads just popping out around the side near the ruins of the Manufactorium. We're probably going to be looking to maybe take some shots at this guy later on. And exactly the same over here. Both squads, combat squad, just getting out. And with firepower backing up from the Rhino, more than likely going to be shooting into the drones. And at the end of the turn, the Terminator squad, the Assault squad, have just deep struck down here. More than likely they'll be wanting to try and get a charge into Typhus. But as Michael has just stated, Typhus does like friends, so he's going to meet 5 of them probably shortly. So we'll come back after psychic and shooting phase, because obviously Tigris is now back out. So we'll come back after the psychic and shooting. Right, okay, so just back after the psychic and shooting phase for the Ultramarines. So Tigris attempted to cast Smite. He did get it off, but the Death Guard did manage to deny it. So just going into shooting phase, a couple of shots from the Land Raider that was into Typhus, and he passed all of his saves. Over here, the Dreadnought got some wounds into the Plague Marines, but they're disgustingly resilient, managed to save them there. Just coming around this way, also firepower from this squad. We did count that they can shoot through the smoke, but we are counting it as though that you do get cover for the save for that. They shot their weapons into the Death Guard and they're still absolutely fine. Just coming over to this side, a lot of firepower coming from both squads and the Rhino into the bloat drones and reduced this one down to 4 wounds. So limping along, but still kicking around, no problem at all. And a couple of shots coming down from this squad, from this squad here, just shooting through down to here, managed to take wound off the Blightbringer. So apart from that, there's just a couple of charges to set off. So I believe that there's 2 charges, so that's Tigris charging into the Poxwalkers, and the Terminators going to make an attempt to charge into Typhus. So Tigris charging into the Poxwalkers. Okay, that is a 7-inch charge. Yep, he'll be in. And for the Terminators, that'll be an 8-inch charge there. We'll measure it in a couple of moments. Okay, that is a 7-inch charge.
Don't think I'm going to be able to.
So we'll just quickly measure that one up. See if they are going to get in.
No.
So 7-inch charge. No, they are not in. So we will get, Typhus doesn't have any Overwatch weapons, does he?
No, it's range 6.
He has no,
He's
right.
got a pistol, but it's range
Ah,
6.
right, yes, it is range 6, so they'll be out of range. Not a problem at all. So, no assaults, apart from obviously for this one to resolve. So, we'll come back after the combats have been resolved, and the movement phase has been completed for the death card on their turn 2. Right, so just back after the movement phase for the death card. Just in the combat, as you can see, there's 3 Poxwalkers left. But no damage. Well, managed to get a hit, but failed to wound. So one of these Poxwalkers has just stroked Tigurius across the face, and nothing else done over there. Movement, however, as you can see, Typhus has just moved straight up around here. The other Poxwalkers, they're still in range to gain the benefit, so the increased toughness and strength. These Plague Marines have moved up as well, looking to more than likely get some shots and a potential charge against the Dreadnought, followed by the Blightbringer. The Plague Caster, Blightbringer, he has just come around the cover of this rock over there. And the 2 drones have just shifted around slightly, more than likely to get a lot of shots into this squad over here. So, as we look across the battlefield for that way, there is a couple of psychic powers which will more than likely be wanting to get off on this turn. So we'll come back after Psychic and Shooting Phase for Death Card on their turn 2. Right, okay, so we are just back after Psychic and Shooting Phase. Psychic Phase, so we don't have a Warlord for the Ultramarines anymore. That came from, so Typhus, he cast the Miasma of Pestilence, and he also cast Smite, and he rolled a d6 for mortal wounds, and Tigurius is gone. Tigurius did try to deny, but failed. So that gave Michael 3 points straight away. So that was 1 for a unit, 1 for Slay the Warlord, and 1 for First Blood. Very nice there. Just over here, this guy cast the Miasma of Pestilence on the Plague Marines, so they are protected for getting shot at. Shooting Phase, just coming over this way, the Bloat Drones dealt out quite a bit of damage. However, this squad's absolutely fine over here. Over this way, however, the Plague Marines did try to overcharge the Plasma. He did hit, but he failed to wound. One of the front guy threw a crack grenade, nothing, but then 3 rapid fire bolters, got 2 6s to wound, and Graham rolled a 1 and a 2. And that was reduced and totally took out the Dreadnought. A lot of firepower coming in that way, which reduced a lot of wounds. Smite helped with that as well, because Michael also got a 6 for mortal wounds, so that reduced him down to 2 wounds, and then the additional 2 came from the bolters. So burn and wreck there. So Dreadnought is gone. So we are just going on to the assault phase, and Michael does have a couple of assaults to set off. So I'll probably start over this way here. I presume that the drones are wanting to charge into the Marines. Was it just the one drone that you're charging, or both? Just the one?
Just the one.
Is it the which the wounded one? Okay, so I reckon it's about 3-inch charge to get in.
What's the 3?
Yep, yep, that'll definitely, he'll be in. Is the other one charging as well, or is he staying back? Right, so he's in. Any more charges to set off?
Yes, Typhus into the Land Raider.
Typhus into the Land Raider. Okay, so Typhus going into the Land Raider. That'll be about a 6-inch. We'll pre-measure it as well. Yeah, even without measuring, 7 inches will get him in from there.
Yeah.
Yep, he'll definitely be in. Cool, so we will come back after combat has been resolved. Hopefully that Land Raider for the Ultramarines will still be standing, but we'll have to wait and see. So we'll be back after combats have been resolved for Death Guard on their turn 2. Right, okay, so just after the assault phase for the Death Guard on their turn 2. So over here, we got Typhus dished out a little bit of damage. However, the Land Raider, he's obviously limping along. He's still absolutely fine on 13 wounds. However, the Land Raider, he also took a wound off Typhus as well. So it seems to be a thing with the with Graham's Land Raiders, tends to do wounds in combat. Over this side, just the bloat drone managed to take out one of the Marines, and Marines did no damage back. So as it stands at the moment, obviously the scores currently are 4-0. However, we are going into the Ultramarines on their turn 3. So if they can take out this unit, and that will give them a point. And obviously moving across the board as well, there's a couple of other units that they could potentially start chipping away at. And don't forget, obviously, these Terminators, a little bit far away, but certainly a threat in the backfield. So we'll come back after movement has been resolved for the Space Marines on their turn 3. Right, okay, so we're just back after movement phase for the Ultramarines on their turn 3. Terminators have advanced. They did only, unfortunately, get a 1, so they moved up 6. Land Raider's staying exactly where he is. Just moving across, just past the smoking ruins of the Dreadnought. His living brethren have just come scooting across here, just with the smoke concealing their movements. Just zipping past, undetected by the Plague Marines for the time being. Round here, the other squad's just moved behind the Aegis. They're looking to make a sweeping manoeuvre, potentially round this way, or they may end up starting to make a way down to this guy hiding down here. Just near the bloat drones, still left in combat over here. The other squad's jumped back into their Rhino. The Rhino's moved, and that Rhino has also gone behind the cover of the ruined Imperial Fists Land Raider. So, apart from that, no Psychics, because obviously Tigeris is dead. But we will come back after shooting phase for the Ultramarines on their turn 3. Right, so just back at the end of the entire turn. Marines didn't have any viable targets to shoot at, so we just done straight onto combat. Over this side, no damage done to Typhus, but Typhus has stripped 3 wounds off the Land Raider. Just over that side, no damage done over there. So the Marines, they are spread out a little bit too thin, Graham seems to feel. Looking at the way that the board is set up, maybe, you know, there's still Terminators down here. They couldn't do anything particularly, but they are starting to get closer. So we may end up seeing some the Terminators getting in there. However, we are going into the Death card on their turn 3. What can they do in response to this? They're going to get some more nasty shenanigans off with the psychic powers. We'll have to wait and see. So we'll find out after the moving phase for Death Guard on their turn 3. Right, okay, so the Death Guard are on the move. These Poxwalkers are just staying exactly where they are, and Typhus is still in combat. This Poxwalker squad, they have moved on, so they now don't get the benefit of the extra toughness and extra strength from Typhus. Plague Marines have just shifted up as well, and the caster is just closely following them. And I do have to say, first time seeing these guys up close, and they look absolutely amazing. Sculpt on these guys is fantastic. So it looks as though the GW are listening to people and starting to get the sculpts sorted out for everybody. A lot of legions to go through for Chaos, however, so it'll be a time. But Thousand Suns obviously got it, Death Guard got it, who knows who'll be next. Anyway, moving on. The drone that's still on full wounds just came up. Look as though he's going to get some shots into this combat squad here. And the Blightbringer just hiding underneath here. Whether we might be able to get... Looks as though he's just hanging around, watching what's going on through the gap. And this drone is just still in combat over that side as well. So we are just going into Psychic and shooting phase for the Death Guard. Will the Death Guard be as successful as they were last time? We'll only have to wait and see. So we'll be back after Psychic and shooting. Right, okay, so just back after Psychic and shooting phase for Death Guard. Not as successful as last time, but still devastating on the Terminator's behalf. 2 of their number brought down by Smite, combined from Typhus and the Plague Caster over here. Another wound dished out by Bolt of Fire from the Plague Marines. Did overcharge the plasma gun, got a hit but failed to wound. Michael also used one of his command points as well and rolled a 1 twice in a row. So unable to re-roll again for that. Moving across over this side, no firepower because the bloat drone has advanced. So just 2 charges to set off. Going into the assault phase, we have these Poxwalkers going into the Land Raider, and these Poxwalkers charging into the Marines over there. So for the Poxwalkers here, oh yep, they'll definitely be in. And these guys charging straight past through the Dreadnought. Reckon they need a 6-inch. 6-inch screw? Yeah, just move that out of the way. Yeah, 6-inch. Reroll that one, it's cocked. No, they do not get in. Of course, they will get Overwatch. We're not counting, even if Michael did get in, we're not counting the Dreadnought as a wreck. We'll just put it there for thematic purposes. So, we'll come back after Overwatch has been resolved, and combat's over here, of course, and the continuing one across over the far left. And we'll be back at the beginning of Ultramarines on their turn 4. Right, okay, so we are just back after the charge as phase for the death card. So just over here, the Poxwalkers obviously made it in, as we saw. Combat-wise, Typhus absolutely tearing apart this land raid. It's on 1 wound left. That needs to get away. Otherwise, there's a potential of the rot ability that he has to be able to take a mortal wound on a 4+. So it looks as though these Terminators may have to start running and get as close as possible to be able to take the heat off the Land Raider. Just coming over this way, no damage done on this side at all. Just attacks made, but just hitting off metal against metal and pus. So we are going into the for Ultramarines on their turn 5. Very quick turns coming around here, but they are going to seriously have to make some moves to get some claws and points back, because at the moment they are sat on nothing at the moment. So, however, Tactical Marines around here, they could easily come past, could fall back with this. Terminators, of course, still on the board. This tactical squad, of course, it's still at their full strength there. And obviously the Rhinos as well. So, we'll have to wait and see what the Ultramarines do. So the Terminators have just come as fast as what they can up here. They haven't advanced, but they've come up that way. The Land Raider has disengaged, so it has fell back, can't fire. It's only a 3-inch move, however, with it limping along on its wounds. Tracks are starting to blow off left, right and centre, so it's scurried away. The other Marine squad has just come around, looking to get as many shots into these Poxwalkers as possible. Just moving across the ruined Manufactorium. This Marine squad has just hopped over the fence. More than likely be able to get some shots off at the blow drone, but it looks as though they are aiming to get out of dodge essentially and get in that Rhino. And the other Rhino with the squad still in there has just come tearing across there. And just over this way, these Marines have fell back out of the combat. With them being Ultramarines now as well, obviously they can still fire because of their chapter tactic. So as we move into the shooting phase, possibly the last lot of shooting that the Ultramarines can dish out, they're going to have to pull something out of their backsides to be able to get points clawbacks here. Of course, there will be more than likely charges as well, but firepower going to need to have some lucky rolls. So we do need to say something here, and I think Graham needs to shout it out.
For the Emperor.
For the Emperor, indeed. We'll come back after the shooting phase. So fell back and obviously shot into the blow drone with the crack missile and dished out 5 wounds. Michael did fail one of them out of the 5, and then used a command point, but then failed again, so it is gone. Over this side, these Marines just split firing. The plasma pistol from the sergeant did no damage that way, did overcharge it and did no wounds. And everybody else shot through the smoke. As I mentioned earlier, we are counting it as they can shoot through it and no damage done there. Firepower in at the Poxwalkers reduced them down to 5. More than likely going to be a charge here as well. And obviously no firepower this way. So no firepower really, not a great deal of damage, but at least the Ultramarines obviously are off the 0 mark. However, do have a couple of charges to set off.
Yeah.
So I presume we'll do the
Marines
into the Poxwalkers.
Yeah.
Okay, on a 10, they'll definitely be in. They don't have any shooting weapons, so no Overwatch to resolve there. And the Terminators, are they going to try and make a charge?
Charge, yeah.
I presume they're going to be trying to charge Poxwalkers or Typhus?
Poxwalkers.
Poxwalkers. Okay, so reckon that'll be a 6-inch charge to get them in. Okay, on a 5 and re-rolling the other one cocked. 6, 7, yep, that'll definitely get them in there, because you only need to be within an inch. So Poxwalkers against Terminators and against Tactical Squad over there. Right, so just back after the end of the Ultramarines on their turn 5. Combat-wise over here, no damage done on either side. Over this side, the Terminator's dished out an absolute truckload of wounds, but disgusting resilient, and one Poxwalker is stopping the Ultramarines from getting another victory point here. So the current scores are still 4-1 to the Death Guard. Will it all be over? We'll have to wait and see. So we will come back after movement phase. Right, okay, so just back after movement phase for Death Guard. So Typhus just chasing after the Land Raider. He's an inch away, so absolutely fine. Poxwalker obviously holding up these Terminators. Same over there. The Death Guard Plague Marines just shifting up, and as well as the Caster. Just coming over this side, Bloat Drones come scooting along, more than likely looking to get some shots into the back of them Space Marines. And the Blightbringer, he's just came scooting across, he's advanced as well. So apart from that, we are going to do the Psychic and Shooting phase all together, so we'll be back at the end of that phase. Right, okay, so just back after Psychic and Shooting phase. So on the Psychic phase, the only real thing, Typhus smited the crap out of the Land Raider and killed it. So there's another point for the Death Guard. He also tried to shoot his pistol because he is within an inch and did no damage. Just moving over here, the Plague Marines firing through the smoke as we agreed at the Space Marines over there and did no damage. Just a couple of other powers cast, but nothing done. The Bloat Drone killed 2 of the Space Marines over here, so they'll need to do morale at the end of the turn. And apart from that, nothing else to cover on shooting. Do have charge to set off as well. So where are you charging first, Michael?
Typhus into the lone Terminator.
Typhus joining in at the Poxwalker. Yep, he'll be in. And are the Plague Marines going to be making a move? Or are they still on the
They're charging in as well.
to the Space Marines over there, yeah?
Yep.
Right, okay. That's, and a 9. Yep, that'll definitely make them in as well. So that's all the charges done. No Overwatch. So we'll come back after combat and we will see what the results are and the potential for the final of the game. So we'll be back in a moment. Right, okay guys, so end of turn for the Death Guard, and the Ultramarines have called it. They are retreating. Need to make a run for it. So basically the reason for this, Typhus killed the Terminator over here. That put the Death Guard on 6 points. Over here in combat wise, the Space Marines did kill another Poxwalker. And of course, just looking over the rest of the board, just been discussing it across the board as well. The Marines, I mean, they could have potentially maybe, you know, with a very good advance, getting range to get line breaker, that would have given them another point. If they were lucky round here with all the firepower, if they were really lucky, they may potentially have been able to strip some wounds off this guy. Not enough to kill him though. If they were lucky in combat over here, they'd have gotten a point there as well. But just not enough to warrant. So Space Marines, I mean, obviously we have discussed it as well just off camera, but I know Graham won't mind mentioning it as well, but he knows what he's done wrong. We've kind of analysed it, and what really is that Graham feels as though he's spread the force a little bit too thin. And because of that, Death Guard in their fashion have picked their targets. They've basically prioritised. They've picked their targets exactly what they wanted, and they've stripped the points. So it is a Death Guard victory today. Final scores at the end of the game are 6-1. So, yep, the Ultramarines definitely on the back foot. But in the 40k universe, there is only war, and it is a learning curve as well. So thanks very much for watching, guys. It was an absolute pleasure to have the Death Guard and Michael on the channel as well. And we will catch you next time. If you like what you see, especially if you want to see the armies again, give us a like and a subscribe. Until then, happy wargaming.